Yeah, I'm back. Could you announce, please, for the videos in YouTube, the game and the tournament again, please?
Yeah, so we are in this this first round matchup between the Eternal Carbonites as well as Out of Milk. About 2 minutes into this game, and we're gonna see how these lanes develop, as there is a quite aggressive position by both Sexy Scale and Mr. Manager up here in the top lane, who've been pushing this creep wave quite heavily. So this Clockwork is getting a lot more XP than he should have, because they had quite a bit of control in the early game, but like at the start of this match. But with Tusk rolling off to the side and Bane mostly zoning, they didn't get enough pulse off. So this creep wave is just continually walking towards this Clockwork, and he's picking up a lot of XP. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Mr. Savage actually got found out inside the woods with the haste on the line. Nice Earth Spike takes out the first blood for Camp A on that gyrocopter.
Yeah, great job by the team. And yeah, it's a 180 gold and XP bonus. And we see Roger initiated by Tuskar and Windranger. A great shackle shot, power shot hitting Roger, and this guy is actually low, but he must not wait so long time for his bottle.
Yeah, the shackle shot only lasting 1.5 seconds. Wingblade didn't notice it quite soon enough, so he didn't have a full power shot going off.
Oh,
another
and
shackle
again.
shot going off, another full power shot. This time it still doesn't do all too much damage because this Dragonite has 10 armor.
Yeah, but Wingblade is probably watching Wiha and lands nice those shackles.
I'm gonna quickly check for the sound because I'm hearing that there's not a lot of game sound coming in. So I'm quickly boosting that to see if we get something.
Yeah, and meanwhile, well, if you watch the CS, Ember Spearing leading pretty decently in this CS-wise, and yeah, the guys from Out of Milk are actually holding the lane pretty decent. You see Tuskar with the 2 range creeps. He doesn't want that the lane will push in.
Yeah,
and
those range creeps are gonna hold the creep wave there for a while. Clockwork trying to block out his creep wave by using his cogs, but unfortunately for him, 2 of them escape, and the lane does end up going there. But with 2 range creeps, the range creep doubling up as well as having quite a massive creep wave, this lane is gonna once again push into this this rune, and we're gonna see if they're gonna try for something aggressive. We have the snowball coming in with the nightmare. Cogs come out, so do the shards, but they're stuck here for a while. But unfortunately for the Eternal Carbonites, the tower has aggro on the creeps, and not on any of the heroes.
Great initiation by the Out of Milk guys, and well,
Wingblade making very good use of this double damage rune he found, using his ulti on the tower already, getting quite scared of this Dragonite for some reason, but.
Well, you know, the Fire Breath lowers your damage, and maybe Wingblade doesn't want to just like use his mana pool so much, because he's looking forward to abuse the bottle, you know, and he needs his mana maybe if he's gonna get initiated in.
He also doesn't have too much HP regen anymore, so he probably doesn't want to go head-to-head versus this Dragonite, exchange some blows because of the high regen that this Dragonite does have. 3.2 health per second, opposed to the Windranger's 1.3.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Windranger must always watch the minimap, because, you know, he can always be ganked by the Lion. And
meanwhile, on bottom lane, Mr. Savage once again found out. He's gonna try and juke them in the woods. Lion quickly running out, manages to find him. They're trying to block out his escape. Lion very patient with the Earth Spike, does manage to find him at the end. Surge comes out, but he's hexed. He still runs away and ends up dying.
Yeah, and
another kill for this gyrocopter, going 2-0 already in this lane, while having 28 last hits.
And if you watch the net worth, even if he gets like 10 last hits less than the 2 other guys of Out of Milk, he has the same net worth as Windranger, and even higher than Ember Spirit.
Yeah, the big loss for Eternal Carbonites in this point in the game is that Dragonite losing the middle lane. Meanwhile, we have a rotation down to the bottom lane, where Tusk as well as the Bane have just smoked up, and they're going to be looking for this line.
Yeah, and
Gyrocopter very patiently but very far in front. Dazzle doesn't have too much mana to work with.
And
right
Lion
here.
was
Snowball
going.
comes out, runs in, Dazzle's there, wants to throws out heal, but he doesn't have any mana left. Gyrocopter running out, nice little body block there by Lion. Gonna have to get rid of that Bane, throws out the Hex, stuck there with two Iron Shells.
Two Iron Shells just
a lot of damage.
Just
Lion
killed
goes
off
down,
Lion.
They're just going for this Dazzle,
Yeah.
Ice Shards blocking him in, and there's just no escape. Meanwhile, Dragon Knight comes in, rotates from the top, throws out his stun, doesn't have the mana for a Fire Breath, and afraid he can't really do anything here. He blows his ulti, but there's just no follow-up from him.
And yeah,
On
great.
the middle lane, the Wind Ranger uses yet another ulti just to try and get this first tower down.
Yeah, and yeah, great smoke timing game by the guys of Out of Milk. Really good made, but one mistake was that Darkseer actually searched the wrong hero, you know, because Tusk had an Iron Shell on him, and if Darkseer would search Tusk, it would be probably a kill on Gyro, you know, but instead, like, taking two supports.
They were looking for the control coming out from the Bane because they were battling up to 3. So I do know why they would go for that Bane, because he does have a level 3 brain sap, would be quite a nice burst damage. If he got in range, he would have gotten that kill anyway, and they'd still have all the Tusk's skills to go for any other kills.
Yeah, and watching.
The is pretty far out in lane, gets the Remnant thrown onto him.
And a great Shackle from Wingblade.
Shackle coming out by Wingblade, and Clockwork goes down pretty damn quickly.
Yeah, and watching the graphs, you already see a net worth lead of 4,000 to Out of Milk and the experience lead of 2,500. So yeah, the guys are really looking good. And yeah, the Radiant team should think probably about some smokings and a lot of wood stacking, and they must make sure that the stacks, you know, the Wind Ranger will not come into their forest and just take all the Gyro stacks, because it can happen.
I'm just gonna quickly throw down my audio a bit, as I did boost it up quite a bit, and is now slightly hurting my ears. So I'm just gonna drop that for a second there. As we see, Ember Spirit's already picked up 1900 gold. I'm expecting him to get those Boots of Travels pretty quickly, so he'll be able to farm everywhere and be at nearly every fight, making sure that he makes great use of having that level 4 Flame Guard.
Yes, and yeah, top tower will fall too. The guys.
Meanwhile, mid lane.
Yeah,
we have the Wind Ranger taking a peek in the woods, running up into the
Ooh.
Dazzle. There's
Well,
the Lion, throws out his Hex, waits for it.
It's
wants
not
to throw out the
effective.
stun,
It's
and he
not
misses it,
effective
though.
because, you know, Lion is level 4, and well, these two guys cannot do anything to a.
Yeah, the Dragon Knight didn't move in time, so we have a power shot coming out to the
Great.
Dazzle. Brain Sap almost takes down the Dazzle. But now Bane has gone too far, gets
Well,
stunned.
Lion will
Dragon
die.
Knight throws out his ulti. Lion will die to this. The control from the Bane, using that Nightmare to make sure
And
they
the
escape.
Ooh, and
He
the
has the mana
ultimate.
for a grip, and meanwhile, from the side, Gyro's coming in, has that call down, throws it out. Bane still ends up dying, and the snowball runs through, wants to get the Dragon Knight, throws out the shards, but he's so goddamn tanky. There's so much armor on that guy, and the Gyrocopter runs forward with the Rocket Barrage, takes down the Tusk. Meanwhile, Wind Ranger joined again, gets the power shot off, takes the kill, and just TP's out. The Conks were just not in time to
Just a
make sure.
millisecond too late. You know, he could actually do it like just stand to the tree and give the cogs, and it would hit, you know, through the fog.
Yeah, he tried to push him with the cogs. But
Yeah.
he just mistimed a bit. Meanwhile, we have Mr. Savage on that Darkseer getting chased out of the lane by Gyrocopter.
And yeah, about Mr. Savage, extraordinarily good player on the offlane for this tournament. The last tournament he played exceptionally well on that offlane. And yeah, in this game, you know, maybe he died like 2 times, but net worth wise, he's still leading a lot to the Clockworks. So yeah, and another smoking from Out of Milk on Gyrocopter.
Yeah, the sleep comes out.
Wall.
And, well, this Tusk is paying for it with his life. The Grave comes out, and this is a triple kill for the Gyrocopter. It's gonna be 4 even.
Ultra
kill coming out for that Gyrocopter.
Man, that
With all the
was
control
genius.
coming out from that line at the end, but the Dazzle keeping him alive using that shallow grave. It was. I was not expecting this gank to actually
Man,
go this way.
that was really fantastic. Dazzle gave so much damage with his heal, and yeah, Bane slipped a little bit too early, you know, Dazzle. So the Dazzle got actually off his grave on Gyro, and all the damage came in, and even Ember Spirit TP'd and died, and it's a big swing.
As soon as they got the Gyro low enough, the Nightmare was already off of the Dazzle, and he could just use that shallow grave to keep him alive.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna quickly.
yeah, so guys,
boost your
about
audio a bit.
the net worth wise, like the guys from Radiant just had a 2500 gold swing, and net worth wise Gyro is now #1 net worth in the game. And this guy can cause a lot of
And
problems.
meanwhile, in bottom lane,
Bane.
Bane tried to go into the woods, tried to D-warp, but got stunned on the high ground, rocket barrage, and the finger ends up taking him out.
Well, you know, on tournaments, like, the guys should know that you should never go on the opponent's half alone to deward. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
it's a very tricky one. Yeah, it's just to deward. If you want to deward that, you're gonna have to use a tango for it. If you
Yeah.
don't have it, then you don't want to be there.
yeah, exact, man. You don't want to be there, cause things like this
Meanwhile, up
happen.
in top lane, Ember does have his spirit out and will easily escape this Dragonite, who's still only 4k in net worth. It's just a Gyrocopter on the side of the Eternal Carbonites and actually has something.
Well, you know, Dragon Knight doesn't need so much to be effective. If he gets now his blink, maybe a bracer, he will be already effective, like, a lot with his
That is true,
initiations.
but most of his effectiveness comes from that early to mid game where he's pushing towers with his ultimate. So far, they haven't really pressured. Mid tower is completely healthy. There's only 100 damage done to the top one, and even the bottom tower has only taken 300 points of damage. So they're gonna really be having to droop up a bit. Just maybe pick off 1 or 2 heroes and then make sure that they get some towers back, because they've already lost 2.
You know, if you look like the graphs, you know, maybe Out of Milk are leading, but it's only because the 2 towers. The game is dead even if you don't take the towers. Well, and it's actually great. You know, the last time we casted, like, our first game was a hour and something, and it was really epic.
Well, like you say, the graphs look quite a bit in Out of Milk's favor, but they do have those 2 towers. But the thing about those 2 towers is that they don't really have that high of a pushing lineup, and yet they already took 2 towers.
Yes, that's the problem.
Currently, the mid as well as the top tower both being down creates an amazing amount of space for this Ember Spirit to quickly farm up and go for his Battle Fury. And if they don't start taking those towers soon, having that Battle Fury will just make sure that this Ember Spirit just goes completely amok, goes completely out of control, and I don't see them turning the tides on that all too quickly.
Well, in the mid game, Ember Spirit, because of the high, you know, armor of Dragon Knight and Gyro, is not so scary, and the Dazzle Body in the late game, you know, if he scales well with his Battle Fury and gets the Dallas and so on, yeah, he looks really scary.
Meanwhile, in bottom lane, the line's been drawn. There's 4 heroes grouped up for the sign of the Eternal Carbon Knights. We have the Tusk as well as the Darkseer on this bottom lane, but they do have a defensive ward. They do, Eternal Carbon Knights do have vision on this ward on them as well, so they know that the ward is probably there, and they might end up dewarding it in a bit, although they lack the sentries for it.
I like that they, you know, protect their woods, because they know how it's now dependent on Gyro to get the wood stacks.
Yeah, but the problem I see with this is them. Okay, they're grouping up as 5, and they're gonna be pressuring this tower. The problem I have with this is if they don't fully commit, or if they lose this fight, this Wind Ranger as well as this Ember Spirit are going to be pushing up the mid as well as the top tier 2. So they either need to go for tier 2 now, or they need to go back, as the mid tower is going to be focused fired down. Top tower has quite a bit of damage already.
Well, as you pointed out, I see Roger staying too long. The guys TP'd to save the towers. And yeah, Out of Milk are doing a great job just to split push them, cause...
And Roger's in trouble now. He got... but he does have the gyrocopter coming in from the side. Still has his call down.
Oh my
Grip
god.
comes out. Call down's right on top of this Bane, who does still have his brain sap, and that would be the end of the gyrocopter as he was stuck in the middle of that wall. Meanwhile, the Dragonite had a blink. Meanwhile, found himself somewhere stuck in the woods. A nice power shot and just too much control coming out. I have no idea why it was stuck.
Miscommunication. Gyro went in to fight and save Dragon Knight, and Dragon Knight in meanwhile blinked out into the woods and got stuck. So that's definitely miscommunication. And yeah, the guys from Radiant had a smoke and could try a smoke gang with Clockware's ultimate in line on Ember Spirit, but probably they were too out of focus because what happened just bottom. And yeah, Wind Ranger is now looking really scary with net worth like 9,000, and yeah, this hero scales a lot with the Aghanim Scepter.
Having already picked up that Aghanim Scepter as well, 1,600 gold. The
nice one by
the
Lion.
Ember Spirit is about 1,200 away from having his Battle Fury up. I mean, well, the Tusk already has an urn as well as boots, so he's looking pretty healthy. I'm just not seeing why this Helm of the Dominator comes out, as he has not yet dominated the creep. He has not used it to stack any ancient or any camps. So I'm not quite sure. Like the reason you pick it up as a gyro as an early game is mostly because of the stacking. Because as a gyrocopter, you can easily clear out these stacks.
Yeah, of course.
Unfortunately, he hasn't picked one up yet, which is quite a waste of that item if they're not fighting enough.
You know, yesterday I was watching Artesia on his Shadow Fiend, as I remember, and he had also a Dominator, and he has a such high micro-macro skill that he grabbed a Lightning Wyvern, was split pushing bottom, while the Wyvern he dragged out the enemy creeps and like farmed 3 packs of creeps with the Lightning of the Wyvern, and that was exceptionally good by him actually. I would like to see something similar in this tournament.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we have one of those players that has that micro skill.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tusk is just getting some levels, trying to slowly push out this bottom lane, and just draw their attention to this lane, because every time he makes them rotate, it just creates all that space for this Ember Spirit, who is really, really close to that Battle Fury already.
Yeah,
and like we said, the top as well as the mid tower are still very, very healthy, which means that this Ember Spirit just has a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, and you see Wind Ranger probably stacking for the Ember Spirits, the Ancients, and yeah, that's actually good teamwork by the guys of Out of Milk.
Yeah, Wind Ranger already picked up now a Crystallis, so she's going to be looking to do a bit more damage.
And she
Fortunately, you can't crit towers, so it's just for the fighting. It's not really for the
pushing. Guys like Lion, Clockwork, and Dazzle will have a lot of...
Speaking of Clockwork and Lion, they're looking at this Ember Spirit up top, Clockwork in the woods, ready with that hook.
Yeah, nice one.
Lands it, gets him stuck, but the Lion just wasn't in position for that, so a quick remnant out, make sure that this Ember Spirit is safely back. Meanwhile, middle lane, Roger getting initiated on.
Gets a great shackle.
Shot comes out, but as well as that Fiend's grip does survive, does not manage to dodge that power. Meanwhile, Wind Ranger takes the finger but gets healed up by the mech coming out from the Darkseer. Another shackle shot latches onto creeps. Gyrocopter has found his way to the mid lane as well. It's a 4v4 on this mid lane. Meanwhile, on top, the Ember Spirit is still farming. Now has all the items he needs for this Battle Fury, so I'm expecting him to fly it in soon and start quickly demolishing creep wave after creep wave.
Yeah, and great, I like the guys making a lot of space for their Ember Spirit that is really untouched. And if you want to kill the Ember Spirit, like the last initiation from Lion and Clock was not positioned right. You know, Lion should be in smoke on the lane and wait for the hook shot from Clockwork, because you know Clock can hook like 1000, 2000 rage, but with the Lion without the blink dagger you cannot be. But Lion is really close to the blink.
Yeah, but in that case, he's just not close enough. He's not nearly in a position. Meanwhile, they're now actually stacking. Lions is busy stacking these ancients, which Gyrocopter will at some point try to pick up. He's still
Didn't get the creep.
net worth ahead of December Spirit, but December Spirit is just going to get really, really big, having these boots of travels, the remnants, making sure that he can just run around everywhere. He's currently clearing out their woods and doing so quite effectively, while his team is pressuring the bottom tower, place an aggressive lane ward while being smoked up, as well as another aggressive ward into their woods. But they're not currently finding anyone, while Windranger's trying to signal his team that he wants to go and take out this Roshan.
And he actually can do it, even with someone like Darkseer with the mech. He can easily take Roshan with the ultimate, the focus fire.
Just having the residual from Tusk flying in there to decrease his attack speed, he should be able to quickly take him out with that ultimate while having that Crystallis.
You know, I would like to see from Tusk or Bane something like a medallion or solar crest, because as you pointed out last time, you know, Slardor with Windranger, you don't need to have a really farmed up Windranger to deal a lot of damage, you know, and maybe the medallion or the solar crest can do a similar job.
Yeah, as long as you get rid of their armor, just the Windranger's focus fire without having all too many items just deals a lot of damage.
Yeah, and in DK and Gyro you have the armor, you know, the heroes are armored, so yeah, Solar Crest would be really decent.
Well, so far though, this the Clockwork is only sitting on 4 armor, which is the lowest in his team, only having mana boots as well as Ring of Regen, being very, very shut down in that offlane.
Yeah, and probably making a 4-staff.
He's probably looking to make that 4-staff, yes.
Yeah, because he cannot build a Blade Mill, because it would be not so effective against the out of milk lineup, and a 4-staff of course can, you know, push out because you can get blocked by the ice wall.
He might even possibly be looking into Mechanism, but we'll have to see.
Mechanism?
As he did go for mana boots, which is not something you really see on Clockwork.
Often, yes, you don't see that.
Because he does have the mana to use all his skills effectively. So the mana boots might be an indication that he might just go for a headdress and start building into the Mechanism. But we'll,
yeah, and then later on into the new boots. Like, yeah, that could be actually, and he's like the only like good carrier of the mech.
So a lot of stacking going on now. They really want to get this Gyro big enough. Who's currently working on his BKB and should have it once he kills this last creep. Meanwhile, bottom lane is getting pressured and this tower is just not long for this world. Nobody's coming to deep. Oh wait, there we go. We have one TP coming out from the Dazzle. But meanwhile, the Tusk as well as the Windranger have picked up this Aegis by killing those shots.
So yeah, I think that when Gyro gets his BKB, you need to make pressure with like 5-man Dota, you know, you just need to do it. You need to try to make pickoffs with the DK who has a blink, with Lion who will have a blink, and Clock, like to pick up the Ember Spirit. He has like 1000 HP, it's not a lot.
Got found out by the Windranger, Shackle comes out with a quick ultimate, with a bunch of crits, takes out the Dazzle, who have no chance of survival.
6-0 to 1 Windranger, having a flawless game.
4-staff does get picked up by the Clockwork.
Yeah, 4-staff.
Just that extra bit of control. Dragon Knight also trying to work into this Black King Bar, but it's going to take a while as he's not really farming that much.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt. According to the major, OG just won EHOME.
Oh, you did not just spot. I was really looking forward to
Yeah.
watching that later, but there we go.
Well, sorry,
I
mate.
guess I'll
But
just have to see how they win and check for those matches tomorrow.
check out No Tail, man. Check out No Tail. I have two like recorded videos on our YouTube channel from No Tail. Yesterday's performance on Meepo and Tiny. Check out it, guys. Really great games by No Tail, who is actually watching through Danish players and so on. It's great games by him.
So Ember Spirit pressuring the top tower, hiding in the woods for now. I believe he does have a remnant out.
And a smoke from the Radiant team.
Yeah, so we're gonna follow where they head off to. They're gonna be running into that mid lane. They're gonna be looking for this Darkseer. Blink comes out from the line, so it's shown
Impale.
now. Hex comes out, so does a stun. Colin comes down, TP gets cancelled. Mr. Savage is running out, using that mech, does get the finger, but manages to survive. There's still a shackle shot, did miss. Shards are just not far enough, not blocking anyone in their path. I'd say this is a win for Out of Milk, as
Yes,
they've,
yes.
nothing came of this gank. There was a smoke used, Blink was revealed, everyone just survived, and meanwhile this Ember Spirit's just farming. Already picked up one of his Mithril Hammers, might be looking to either go for that BKB
Desolator.
or go for that Desolator
Yeah.
for that extra damage.
And it's actually would be very good for the Ember Spirit.
We'll just have to see once he clears this wave, because this should give him the money for a Desolator should he go for
Yeah, and
this.
he will get the tower probably.
Blink Dagger does get picked up by Tusk.
So we want so yeah, Out of Milk definitely watching someone to initiate before the Ember and the Wind Ranger. And yeah, another
Meanwhile,
tower.
on mid, the Phoenix Grip does come out, but the BKBs was already out. Now the Flak Cannon really doing work, as well as this Rocket Barrage already taking out one. There we go, the Aegis also expended. Only losing the Dazzle, but the chains come out. Gyrocopter gets stuck and gets the power shot on his face. Another shackle shot comes out.
Great
I have no
shackle
idea how
shot.
This one latched, 'cause the angle just doesn't work.
Weeha Shackles, man.
It's some Weeha Shackles right there. Already has the Daedalus recipe, and will probably get this item right now. Meanwhile, there is a yeah. So the Daedalus is complete on Wingblade, and Ember Spirit is looking for that that Desolator to come out with the courier as well.
Yeah, and
Base defense is
the
gonna be hard.
yeah, the net force lead already from Out of Milk is 10k and the experience lead 12k. Very hard situation for the guys from the Radiant team. So yeah, these guys I think need to watch for maybe a Rapier or two to actually win this game. And yeah, Wind Ranger like lost the ages, but well, looking really strong and going out for the MKB after the Daedalus, and this guy will do damage. He is 8-0 and 1.
Yeah, he's already picked up that one Demon Edge as well as the Javelin. But yeah, the Demon Edge obviously being part of that Daedalus. Meanwhile, after just picking up that Desolator, the Ember Spirit's already up to 1800 gold. And this Darkseer has a Blink and is currently looking to build into that Shivas. A smoke up by the Eternal Carbonites, trying to get something in their woods. They drop a ward. Luckily for them, there's not a sentry there. Otherwise, this would have basically shown their rotation.
And great
Meanwhile,
shackle.
double damage on the Wind Ranger, going godlike, takes out the line. Now fighting up against this Dragonite. Clockwork comes out, and this might be the end for Wingblade, as his another stun can come out in a second. There we go, and Fire Breath should finish it off. Godlike
Over
streak
initiation.
to the Clockwork, and meanwhile the Ember Spirit just took out the Dazzle and is now safely returning to
Yeah, and the guys from Radiant just got a 2000 experience and 1700 gold bonus from only that Wind Ranger, man. Yeah, and
Meanwhile, they found the Bane, who has a Shadow Amulet, is currently standing still, does throw out the Nightmare and just walks away. Roger was coming in close, but just can't get there in time. His dragon form is currently running out. If he does decide to go any further, he's going to run into his death as the death grip, the fiend's grip, is up. He does end up blinking for that Ember Spirit, who throws out his Searing Change and quickly goes out as the line just blinks in.
A little bit wrong was DK on that blink. A little bit range control lacking.
Yeah, unfortunately, he really had to get that stun off or wait for the line to blink in for some extra control.
Well, if the guys like from Radiant would do this kind of, you know, initiations a little bit earlier, maybe the game would not look like this now.
Well, currently, Out of Milk is just taking everything out of the map, farming their own ancients, farming the enemy jungle. The Wind Ranger is currently looking at the enemy's ancients, going to farm that one up really quickly. They're just going to choke Eternal Carbonites, and they don't really have anything as their lineup was pretty, I'd say pretty early game oriented. Wind Ranger actually only takes out the Giant Ancient, leaving a gutted Ancient camp.
You know that Mushi was like loving to troll his opponents when he had a big lead. He always went into the enemy forest and took only the big creeps and trolled his opponents, like a lot of times, you know.
Yeah, it's a great way to actually make sure that they get nothing. Like if they do have the chance to get into the woods and all the big creeps are gone, obviously they're not getting that much. On the mid, we're gonna see an initiation. You see the Ice Shard coming out, a blink into Snowball with the Fiend's Grip on top of the Gyrocopter, who still has his BKB, but will he survive? Yeah, the Grave comes out, throws out his ultimate, but what can he really do?
Yeah, and great.
A 3-man engagement, 3 kills for 1, as the Dragonite tries to escape, but the Frozen Sigil slowing his movement speed. Meanwhile, the Lion gets stuck as well, 4 for 1. And that makes it a 5-1 engagement.
But this engagement was not needed by the Radiant team. They should just farm and get a few pickoffs, you know, and that would be enough to scale into the ultra late game. This mid tower was not needed. And now they will probably lose the game, cause I don't see now how the guys can come back into this game.
Yeah, it's looking pretty dire for the Radiant team, as they're now trying to push up the high ground on the bottom lane. Fortification comes out, but this Wind Ranger with his
Too much
Stateless
damage.
and the Aghanim Scepter just has 230 damage. Just takes out the tower, quickly runs away. Meanwhile, on mid lane we have a giant wave coming in, but the Rocket as well as the Earthspite will quickly take that down to make sure they don't take too much damage. Meanwhile, Ember Spirit just TPs to the top and goes to farm up there, who also now has his recipe for his Daedalus ready, has his Ring of Aquila in the stash, and that crit, so he should be picking that up within a minute.
Yeah, he can sell easily his bottle and Ring of Aquila actually, and get the Daedalus. Or just...
wait, he already has the Demon Edge, so the Daedalus is already coming out for Sexy Skull.
And then he's actually really big.
Well, he still has that 1.8k ready.
20k net worth into 33 minutes is actually a lot. 514 and 300 CS is definitely nice. Nice played by the Ember Spirit. He got all the space he needed and he used it optimally.
Yeah, so Mr. Savage already picked up that Shivas, also 1.5k in the bank.
Yeah,
this Tusk is going to be picking up his Glimmer Cape, which I think the Bane already has, yes, and he's currently working to either an Aghanim Scepter or that BKB. We're going to have to see, as he just picked up an Ogre Club.
Well, 2 Fiend Grips in this game will win, just win the game, you know. It's a lot, man. So yeah, what should the Radiant team do now? Probably just wait when the Dire are going for Roshan and...
This is Rapier time.
Oh,
there's nothing more to it. Gyrocopter already picked up his
Demon
Edge, has 2.4k in his bank, and is going to be looking to finish up that Rapier, because I don't see another way for them to come back. They have to brute force it. A giant two-man shackle coming out on the bottom because the line was slightly out of position. Blink forward by the... oh, there we go. Blink forward by both heroes, both the Death Knight as well as the Darkseer. Will the wall come out? Will he? No, he's just going to search the Wind Ranger, who's going to throw out another shackle shot, and they're going to run back. But they're going to reinitiate.
It's game.
Wall's already there. And there goes the Dragon Knight. 3 people down on the side of the Eternal Carbonites. And they're just going to start pushing. Gyrocopter actually ends up buying
3 buybacks.
And the Dragon Knight. And that's a quick runaway by Out of Milk, just forcing 3 buybacks. A giant lead. Like that's a great goal changer. Meanwhile, up top, the Ember Spirit found
one fist, and Lion is dead, man. Too much damage coming out from the Ember. Too much.
They've already lost their top tier 3, they lost their bottom tier 3.
And they cannot defend.
Ember Spirit just starts whacking at these melee racks and they can't defend because as soon as they react to top, then bot is pushing in. There we go.
Yeah, and the main problem is that one guy cannot defend against this Ember Spirit no more, cause one fist and you're half HP.
Exactly. Quickly cleans up the creep wave and just remnants back. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, melee racks do end up going down by the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, and great save like by Tusk, the cape and the snowball, just making sure that this Wind Ranger even will not lose the Aegis. Yeah, and yeah, the guys from Radiant need to like give up one side but get the kill.
Yeah, and with that buyback having to come out from the Gyrocopter, he does end up going for that Monkey King bar, has purchased the Javelin. Is about 300 gold away from his second one, 200 right now. Don't completely agree with me. Wow, on bottom lane, just caught the end of that with that vacuum. Just took out that Dragon Knight with a lot of damage coming out from that Wind Ranger.
Yeah, and Ember Spirit got himself a Sacred Relic meanwhile. So, yeah, 350 damage with the Desolator Daedalus.
Well, a relic onto an Ember Spirit only means one thing.
Rapier.
That's a rapier, but I have no idea why he would do that. Because there's just no reason. Meanwhile, he takes up the top melee rack, does a ton of damage to the range barracks.
Easy man. Jackie Mao fanboy.
Stun. Oh my god, the Clockwork wanted to ult, but the Gyrocopter was just in front. And the Ember Spirit throws out another Sleight of Fist, takes out the line as he sips away.
Yep.
Meanwhile, they're pushing out down bottom, taking some damage on that range barracks. Cooldown comes out, but they're just gonna blink away, and only the creep wave gets farmed.
Well, Radiant team is desperate.
Meanwhile, mid lane, the Wind Ranger just uses ulti to get a lot of damage again on that tower, and they just don't have an answer for it, as they don't have that. The only way they could have gotten anything was to get that rapier onto the gyro. He didn't opt for it, but there we go. The grip comes out, but there's also the BKB.
And look at Gyro, how much damage does he get?
Really meanwhile, this Gyrocopter tried to do anything, but the Ember's there, takes him out. GG is called, and Out of Milk goes down to the next round. Rapier does end up getting purchased by the Ember Spirit, hasn't used it, but it always looks fun in the end screen.
Yeah, and fantastic game by Out of Milk, proving that they wanna get one more tournament.
So that was the game. We're gonna quickly jump into our. We're gonna quickly search for our next lobby.